out to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. He's going to win the football game.
Like, you're 1v1 against Mitch and Ron. The first one is the moon fake. It's got to be the alligator.
Fucking alligator.
I don't know how much an alligator weighs. Let's say an alligator weighs 400 pounds. I don't know, dude. That sucker weighs 4 tons. I don't know. What's good, everybody? It's your boys, Travis, Cam, and TJ, and this is our second recording of the sports podcast this week of the TKT Podcast, the TKT Podcast, your favorite podcast on all podcast streaming platforms like Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. So we actually recorded this episode once, and my dumbass had to change the audio for a Halloween episode, which y'all are hearing on Wednesday. You'll hear this one on Friday. It was supposed to be Monday, but I fucked up. That's on me. I apologize. But we're re-recording, and here we are. And I do want to let the listeners know Travis hit the gnarliest hair flip right before we hit record, and
I was crying.
yeah, it was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
But boys, so this is our first sports episode. We're really just going to get the listeners caught up on everything that's going on in the sports world and everything that's going on. I just ripped my mic out of the stand, just popped it back in. So if you heard that on the podcast, I apologize.
I do want to bring up that we recorded the first one, and then overnight,
Everything
all
we
the
talked
shit-
about had a development.
yeah,
It just
we talked about, because we're not releasing the first one, obviously, right?
no. That,
So,
like
you
you
brought
can't
up
hear you
Curry.
guys at all. There's no you guys. You can only hear me talking. So I say
really?
something, and then it's like 20 seconds of silence, and I'll be like, yeah. It's fucking
That's kind
hilarious.
of funny.
Yeah, it's
That's
fucking
kind of
hilarious.
funny, actually.
Hashtag lost audio files like Will Trap.
That's
Yeah.
tough.
Also, speaking of Will Trap, we talked about the 0-6 Panthers. They won. They got the dub this weekend.
They got the dub.
Fucking course
What
we
a
jinxed
joke.
it. Yeah, I know. It's a fucking
What a
problem.
joke.
It's a problem.
Shouldn't have said anything.
But so guys, what we really talked about a lot of different things in this first recording. The first thing we talked about was the MLB and how the playoffs are going. And really, I'm not going to delve super deep like we did in the first one. But the way the playoffs have worked out, it's two of the lowest ranked seeding teams in the MLB from the regular season that made the playoffs. The Diamondbacks and the Rangers, who are now tied 2-1 in the series. I think Game 4 is tonight. Can't remember if it's in Texas or Arizona. But it begs the question. So both teams have been killer in the playoffs. They both swept the first two rounds, went 2-0 and 3-0, and then took Game 7 in both the championship series, which was awesome. Probably some of the best baseball I've watched in a while, or really all season, was the championship series, which is exactly what you want. Both Game 7s, and now the two teams that are in it are fighting walk-off grand slam or walk-off home run in Game 1 for the Rangers. Diamondbacks win 9-1 Game 2.
Seen that.
Is everything
The
everybody
walk-off
wants
was
in
crazy.
baseball. But what the question all of this begs is going back to the standings is the regular season in MLB too long? It's 162 games. We talked about this at length in the previous one. And
Yeah.
I've said it before on the podcast that I love the MLB season. I love baseball. It's my favorite sport. You have your March spring training games. Love it. You see guys that probably aren't going to play pretty much the whole year. They may get a couple of bats with injuries and stuff that goes on, get called up, get called down, whatever. Then you have April, opening day. Everybody's hyped. Those first 20 to 30 games, awesome. May, you still have a little bit of the excitement. You're kind of figuring out what your team has. June is fucking boring as shit. No one watches those games. At least I don't. I don't, unless I'm literally just sitting doing nothing, or I throw it on the TV and go and do shit throughout the day. I don't usually watch baseball in June. July is usually fun because you have the All-Star break. August, the playoff run is heating up. September, you're really having that playoff race, the lock-in, and so on and so forth. So when you go into the playoffs after 162 regular season games, and it used to just be like the NFL and the NBA where you have one wild card game. If you hear my dogs whining behind me, I apologize. Banks is a avid speaker when he's up here. It used to just be one wild card game, and now it's a wild card series. It's best of 3, so it's 2 games. It's not like a crazy big deal. But you have a team like the Rangers who ended up getting the 4th seed, going 90-72. The Blue Jays getting 5th seed, going 89-73. And then the Minnesota Twins making the playoffs at 87-75, who had a worse record than the Mariners at 88-74, but they won the division and made it over the Mariners instead because the Twins won their division. And then you go to the National League and you have a team like the Diamondbacks who went 84-78. So, 3 games worse than the lowest ranked AL team make the playoffs, 20 games back of first place. 20 games back. They took the Phillies to Game 7, which was a 6-game difference. They're 6 games back, the Phillies, and swept the Dodgers in the DS 16 games back in the regular season. And then the Rangers, same kind of similar story, sweep the Rays, who they were 9 games back of, and sweep the Baltimore Orioles, who they're 11 games back of. Anybody can win one game. The NFL, anyone can win one game. It's proven. Happens all the time. Yeah. Anyone can win one. It takes a good team. Takes a good team to win 4 games or 5 games in a series, or 3 games in a series, excuse me. A best of 5, best of 7. It is very difficult for the lower, worst team to beat that better team. These guys have heart. They've done a great fucking job. But the Rangers, who have a plus 165 run differential, and the Diamondbacks, who have a minus 15 through 162 games, 2 polar opposite teams, both ranked the lowest, damn near lowest in their league to make the playoffs. It is arguable you can take out an entire month or 2 months and end up with the same result. So in our previous episode, we segued that into the NBA season or compared it to the NBA season because we looked at it, all 8 of the teams that made the playoffs last year, or all 6 of the teams that made the playoffs last year in the Eastern Conference, by Christmas,
set in December.
By Christmas, other than the seeding changing, was the same 6 teams. If you look at the play-in bracket, 3 of the 4 play-in were the same. The West was a little bit different because of all of the injuries and the trades that happened in the West last year. I want to say it was 4 or 5 out of the 6 actual teams made the playoffs. And the ones that didn't make the playoffs made the play-in, and the play-in was exactly the same. So in the NBA season, you can make the same argument. Obviously, I think it's a little bit tougher because I think the MLB season doesn't need to go to 82 games. I don't think it needs to go that low. I would say 120 to 140. We don't need 22 extra games. It's been that way for a very long time. I know that. But in the NBA, I think it's majority agreed upon. 82 games is the right amount.
Like perfect.
But in 2 months, not even 2 months,
it's a lot.
Yeah, I guess it is 2 months. In 2 months, the season's decided. If you in the MLB, if you don't have your team figured out by July, which is 3 months, you're going to be struggling to make the playoffs, but you can make moves, you can make big trades, you can spend money to get to the playoffs. Whereas in the NBA, I think if you don't have your team figured out by December 1st or December 25th, it's over.
You're in trouble.
When's the trade deadline in the NBA?
I think it's right before the All-Star break, right? Like
February.
It's like
beginning of
February 9th was last year's trade deadline. Yeah. So we're saying December 25th. So you still have a month and a half, a month and 2 weeks to make a trade, do something, and nothing changed last year.
I remember the
NBA. A lot
NBA
of trades happened from Christmas to February.
Yeah. But it still ended up being the same result in the playoffs. It still ended up being the same 6 teams that were already the 6 seeds.
Those trades like mid-season for the NBA, bro, it's all like, I mean, there's once in a while you'll get your stars traded, but like it's basically role player for role player to try to get better chemistry.
Yeah.
Like that's all it is.
Because wasn't one of the trades at the deadline last year, wasn't that James Harden?
No.
James Harden trade was then Ben Simmons.
Yeah. There was a bunch of big trades last year at the deadline. Harden and Simmons was wow, I sound like a fake Nets fan, but I'm pretty sure that was the trade deadline.
That was the 2022 trade deadline, I think. Not last year, the year before, excuse me.
Yeah.
So when you think of a team like the Nets, where you have KD getting traded, Kyrie going, and now Durant's on the Suns, and a team that had I'm not trying to like dive into the Nets. I'm just saying a team that even up to that point, they knew they weren't going to make the playoffs. They knew come December of last year, they were only making the play-in, and then they shelled their whole team. And then you got like Lakers. Who did the Lakers add last year? Yeah, they got Mo Bamba, D'Angelo Russell, and Jared Vanderbilt for Patrick Beverley, Thomas Bryant, Damian Jones, Kendrick Nunn, and Russell Westbrook all left the Lakers. And what did that get them? To lose to the Nuggets.
Dude, the Lakers are just weird, man. They're changing that entire 15-man roster every year, bro.
I don't know what's up with their team, man.
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh my God, I forgot about the Mike Conley trade.
Wasn't it back in like 2015 the NBA was talking about going down to like 60 games?
Yeah, because the whole thing with players not playing a bunch of games and sitting out, like Kawhi, only having like in his contract saying he can only play a certain number of games each season, is if I pay as a fan to go watch you play a sport where you get paid millions of fucking dollars and you can't work 82 days out of the year, not making playoffs, not counting practices, not counting those extra workouts that you do in your free time, I go to work 5 days a fucking week, 55, 60-hour weeks, minimum pay, a fraction of your one NBA game salary, and I'm paying my hard-earned money, and you only play 60 games out of the year. The one game I may go to, you're sitting out. As a fan of that franchise,
that would suck.
I would not support that player.
Right.
I would dog that player so much. Like,
well, I mean, you saw Barkley come out and say that, right? On like live TV.
Yes, yeah. That's what I'm trying to get at.
I'm so glad he finally did that, bro.
Yeah, like you have Kawhi Leonard's, and then you have LeBron James, who's going out there and he's going to play as many minutes as he can. Yes, he has load maintenance games, but not 22 a year.
Dude, he just played 38 minutes the other night against the Kings or whoever.
In his 21st season. In his 21st season, bro.
39, 40?
Yeah, like,
bro.
Kawhi Leonard is 32. He wants longevity. I get that. Shouldn't be worrying about it when he's 30. Just to clarify, you should be worrying about.
If you are worried about that, then you have bigger problems like at hand.
Yeah, like, it's so frustrating. So the most games Kawhi Leonard has played in a season is 74 games. So he missed 8. And that was when he was on the Spurs in 2016, 2017. Since that season, what do you think the maximum number of games he's played in? Off dome. Off dome.
Probably 45.
55.
60. Do you know what year that was?
Damn. 2018.
Nope. When he played with the Raptors and won a championship. So that's regular.
Fuck. That's
regular season played 60 games. Obviously, he played the playoffs. Since then, the max he's played 57. Every year he's went down.
You know what's funny though? Kawhi's low key goated for hopping to Toronto.
I love it. I'll
always
always love Kawhi for coming there. However, would I have rather kept DeMar and have him develop and then say this year or 2022 have a chance at winning a chip with your franchise player with fucking Kyle Lowry and Pascal Siakam, Jakob Poeltl, Fred VanVleet in 2021, 2022? I would have rather had that than basically lose
LeBron
my
left.
entire franchise
For Kawhi.
For one chip that now we're in a position where we've lost Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry's gone, DeMar DeRozan's gone, Kawhi left immediately. We got Jakob Poeltl back after the Kawhi trade with DeMar.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would have rather had kept the core and win a championship 2 or 3 years later than go all or nothing, fire the championship/coach of the year the next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally been down. You see that time and time again with all these franchises now. The way, like, I don't even know the way the game is played, the way businesses work. Like, you just dump everything you have. Like, look at the Lakers, bro. They dump everything they've had just to win one chip so far.
Yeah, and it was the shortened year. It was the bubble chip. Like,
yeah.
And I'm not diminishing that. Like, I'm not taking away. I'm not putting an asterisk next to a bubble chip or a 2020 win for the Dodgers winning the chip and whatnot. But you look at those teams, which granted the bubble team is a little bit different because they've gotten rid of everybody on that team. But you look at like the Dodgers, who have been a competitive team since 2016, 2015, have been in the playoffs every year, been to the World Series several times, the NLCS several times, and have essentially had the same team since 2019, 2020. The team they have right now is the same, if not better, than when they won the shortened season and got swept by the fucking Rangers this year.
Yeah.
Was it the Rangers? Or sorry, I think it was the Diamondbacks, excuse me. Either way, swept.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman. In fact, there's a stat, and I'm gonna hop back to the Kawhi Leonard and like the load management bullshit here in a fucking second because you mentioned business, and it just happened that there was an interview with Pedro Martinez recently about like business and sports. Hold on, Dodgers,
it was actually really good.
Playoff stat 2023. Here we go. Hope if I finish typing. All right. 2023 postseason batting stats for the Dodgers. Let's see. Let me go to batting averages. Your biggest guys, Mookie Betts, didn't get a hit. Freddie Freeman went, 1 for 10. That's your two biggest hitting contracts right there. Going a combined 1 for fucking 21.
Yikes.
Not doing shit.
1 for 21.
1 for 21. JD Martinez batting 200. Used to be on the Red Sox. So did Mookie Betts. Batted, 2 for 10. So now you're a combined 3 for 31 from your top 3 hitters on the team.
Yikes.
Guys that are considered for silver sluggers every fucking year. MVPs every year. In the playoffs against a team that y'all shouldn't have even fucking competed against. It should have been 20-0 every fucking game.
Right.
You should have out-hit them, outplayed them, outfield them, outpitched them, every aspect of the game, outcoached them. And the tickets for the NLCS were $15 in Arizona and in Texas. The cheapest playoff games in a championship series that I think I've ever seen. And to go to the Dodgers or Phillies to watch the CS or Houston to watch the ALCS was fucking astronomical. No pun intended.
1,000.
Like, going in, taking that information, and these guys are playing games, bro. These guys are playing fucking games. You look at Freddie Freeman, mind you, 162 game season. Played in, let's see. Got to find it. Sorry. 2023. Played in 161 games. He missed one regular season game. Batted .331. Mind you, a career high. .331. Hit 29 home runs. His fourth highest in his career. Had 72 walks. Struck out 121 times and 637 at-bats, which, mind you, was the most at-bats he's ever had in his career. So not only did he have more at-bats than he's ever had, he had his highest batting average he's ever had, and not once did you see him sit out. I could have picked I could have threw a dart at any game the Dodgers played, home or away, and 99% chance I'm going to see that motherfucker in the lineup. 99% chance. Kawhi Leonard has played 60 games. I'm pulling it back up to tell you exactly how many times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times in his career. 6 times. He's been in the league since 2011. He's played 60 or more 6 times. Been in the league since 2011, 12 years. That's not, I should say, been in the league 11 years, not counting this year. He's played all 3 games. Hasn't played 60 since 2018, and that was the Raptors' 2018-2019 season.
They just got hardened too, and they're not gonna fucking. It's not gonna matter. That was just a side note, but
Might
yeah.
be nice.
So
Might
going
be
off the
nice.
business shit you mentioned, Pedro Martinez said that in his negotiation, so they won the championship with the Red Sox in 2004. Arguably the greatest playoff run in baseball history. Haven't won a chip in 86 years, down 3-0 to the Yankees, win 4 in a row, come back, win it, sweep the World Series, win it. First championship in fucking Red Sox history in 86 years. Goes into arbitration negotiations, and he straight up told the guy, "My best interests are in Boston," was the direct quote he told him. Which fucked him. He made less money. He decided, so in arbitration in baseball, it's just like, I'm pretty sure it works the same way in all the leagues, or at least somewhat similar. You go into arbitration, and you don't have to accept, but this is the offer. The arbitrator is saying, like, you pick your money, they pick their money, and the arbitrator decides which one is more fair. So when he went in and said that, they sided with Boston, right? The business side of baseball. They're going to give you less money because you said you wanted to stay there. You're willing to take the hit, right? So then he got an offer from somebody else for more money, and they have 2 weeks, 14 days to match that offer, and he can go there. They didn't match it, and he went out, and it pissed him off. But that's the difference in a sport where a guy that's going to make fucking money and earn it, go out there and play 161, 162 games on arbitration. Which, granted, Pedro's a pitcher, so it's a little bit different. He doesn't play every game. But you got a guy that is supposed to be like your guy. Granted, the Clippers have Paul George, and now they have James Harden. They have a couple other key players. Like, Kawhi is arguably the best player on that team.
He should be.
And he doesn't play in 22. He doesn't play in a quarter of the season.
Yeah.
A quarter of the year doesn't play.
Yeah.
That's a
For
fucking problem.
multiple years.
I was just glad that Barkley came out and said that, bro, because like people like me and you and TJ, a bunch of other people can like say this type of stuff, but no one's ever gonna listen, obviously.
Yeah, no one gives a fuck. No one cares about the fans because the fans are going to go no matter what.
Right.
Yep.
The fans are going to pay to see them play, just like when the NFL and all that bullshit was happening with the national anthem. The rating spike wasn't shit for them. They didn't care. They're still making millions of dollars. Contracts are still higher than they've ever been. It does not matter.
Like they know at the end of the day, people are still gonna watch. So
Yeah.
Well,
they're either
I
gonna
thought
watch
about
or
that
go.
the other day while I was watching the Giants game, like we ended up losing terribly. Like Graham Gano missed the kick, and it showed Giants fans and it showed the disbelief in their faces, and I literally had this thought like, and people are still gonna go pay so much money just for the tickets, let alone the food and parking and like concessions and all that, just to like watch their team suck.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean,
Regardless.
it goes to show. History has shown, like, even during the Great Depression,
Yeah.
was the highest of the time for MLB ticket sales. Was during the Great Depression. People are willing to spend their last dime to get that 4-hour escape from anything that's going on in the fucking world. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
transitioning off of that,
Right.
we just want to see you play, man. Like, we want you to stay healthy. We
That's it.
don't want you to get hurt. We want you to be healthy, man. We want you to win
yeah, like,
games.
if you're really
But-
hurt, then like I get.
bro.
But there's no reason to sit out 22 games. You're 32 years old. LeBron is playing. I bet you LeBron has played more games than Kawhi in his first 12 years. Guaranteed. So
First
Kawhi.
12 years? Yeah.
Sorry, I accidentally pulled up Kawhi's stats again. Hold on. Let me pull up LeBron's and see how many times he's played over 60 games in a year. To answer that question, in every single year, except for 5 out of the last 6 with the Lakers, 2020, he played 45, which was the shortened season. 2018, he played 55 first year with the Lakers, played 45 in 21, 56 in 2022, 55 last year. Every other year, he's played over 60. In fact, every other year, he's played over 70 besides 2.
It seems like ever since Kawhi had that ankle injury with Zaza back in the day.
I forgot about that, yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, when he landed on his foot.
Since then? Yeah.
He was still on the Spurs at that time, right?
I think so.
Ever since then, Kawhi's been dealing with a bunch of either injuries or load management, whichever. Like, if you're hurt, bro, then, like, I get it. But if you're fine and just chilling because you want to take a night off, like, come on, bro.
Yeah, do something. Play. Like, play. Earn your fucking team a spot.
How many
of those years could you have played 5 to 10 more games, so played 70 instead of 55 or 60, and got your team farther in the playoffs, or got your team better off record, better seeding to have a first-round bye, or things like that?
Yeah.
Think about how many. Because the Clippers are in contention. The Spurs were always in contention.
First round bye.
Well, you know what I'm saying. Like, how many times, how many games could you have played and been in a better position than you were in? Instead of going against the Lakers round 1 or the Nuggets round 1, you could have went up against the fucking Hornets or whatever. You know what I'm fucking saying? Like, you could have went up
sucks, bro,
against a shittier team.
Like, PG's one of my favorite players, bro. And, like, to see, like, I don't know, just, like, them struggle. Mm-hmm. Like, they've commit so heavily to the Kawhi PG era.
Yeah.
And, like, it just, I don't know. It just hasn't, like, panned out correctly.
Yeah. I mean, again, like, taking a look at the NFL's been wild, just as wild this year as, like, most leagues. And
crazy.
So I'll break down all the records and stuff here again in a second, which we want to go back to that, whatever we did last year, like with the Super 7. We're going to get that going again on here. But two of the things we talked about were you have players that are outshining what they've done in previous years. One thing we talked about, Kirk Cousins, pacing an all-time passing yards record throughout the first 4 to 5 weeks of the season, tore his Achilles right after we talked about it, like within 2 hours. And it's like, all right, hold the fuck on.
Yeah.
That was wild.
Yeah, like within 2 hours. And now you got, with this trade deadline and shit, Washington. We talked about Washington's defense.
Yep.
Hasn't performed the way it's supposed to this year. Has been mediocre at best. Has now traded fucking Montez Sweat. And as of 6 minutes ago, I swear to God, right now, as of 6 minutes ago, Adam Schefter, Washington is dealing Chase Young to the San Francisco 49ers for a 3rd-round pick. Right now on this fucking podcast recording.
Nah.
6 minutes ago. Adam Schefter, I'm staring at it on Twitter right now.
Oh my God, the 49ers are gross.
So they just shelled their whole defense. So after we talked about it, they traded Montez Sweat yesterday or earlier today, and now they're trading Chase Young for a 3rd-round pick. Chase Young. Probably one of the best defensive ends in the league. Top 10, for sure. No doubt. Top 10.
Yeah.
For a 3rd-round pick.
You think top 10?
Chase Young, for sure.
I don't know what his stats are. I just haven't been paying attention.
So they've now traded Montez Sweat and Chase Young, all foundational players for their defense, gone this year after we talked about it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's...
The NFL this season, just going into the record, so the AFC East has been the normal AFC East as of late anyways. Dolphins 6-2, Bills 5-3. The Patriots are ass at 2-6. The Jets have recovered quite nice after the Aaron Rodgers injury at 4-3.
Yeah, Zach Wilson.
Staying in it, staying competitive with only a -3 point differential, right? AFC North, been a weird ride so far. Ravens 6-2. Steelers are somehow 4-3. At the time of our recording, they were 4-2, and I was like, I don't think anybody realizes they're 4-2. They went out, lost to the Jags. They didn't have the best game, but Kenny Pickett got hurt, and fucking Mitch Trubisky had to play. So after that happened, it went downhill. Browns 4-3, which we have to talk about those stats that we talked about in the last episode because that's fucking wild that we talked about the yardage and shit. Bengals 4-3. Joe Burrow has not looked great this year. AFC South, possibly the worst division in football right now. Jacksonville Jaguars are 6-2. Houston Texans 3-4. Titans 3-4. Will Levis looked fucking phenomenal, dude. 4 touchdowns. There's only been one other quarterback in NFL history to have 4 touchdowns as his debut. Do you know who it is?
No.
Marcus Mariota with the Titans, baby. In his NFL debut.
serious?
Swear to God. Will Levis coming out throwing four piss missiles, 3 of them to D-Hop. 2 days after they tried to trade him away, D-Hop comes out and puts up a hat trick.
4 piss missiles.
3-4 with a -8 run or point differential, and then the Colts 3-5. They've lost Richardson, and it has not been good since then. The AFC West has been a fucking shit show. The Kansas City Chiefs, I feel like every game they've played this year has been really close, but they do have a plus 58 point differential. They're 6-2, and then you have the Chargers who are underperforming at 3-4, the Raiders who are 3-5, and then the Broncos who are 3-5. Which I don't think anybody saw the Broncos winning 3 games after the first couple games of this season. They are on a 2-game win streak though, so shout out Denver. NFC East,
Broncos country.
let's ride. The Eagles 7-1,
That's right.
Dallas Cowboys 5-2. Again, another team where I just feel like the Cowboys have underperformed this year, and they're still 5-2 is crazy. Commanders 3-5, Giants 2-6. The Giants defense has just been allowing a lot of points, and Daniel Jones doesn't have more than 2.5 seconds in the pocket. And then the
sacked a million times.
NFC North, another fucking crazy division this year. Lions are 6-2. They lost back-to-back games. They just won this past Sunday. Vikings 4-4 with Kirko Bangs now out for the season. They just traded for Joshua Dobbs, I think we said. Yeah, in fact, it's right there. 2023 trade tracker updates. Cardinals trade quarterback Joshua Dobbs to the Vikings. I actually just went and scooped him on the waivers because Kenny Pickett's out this week, and so is Trevor Lawrence, so I need a quarterback.
Good call.
Yep. Green Bay Packers 2-5. But on the bright side, only a -16 point differential, so games are close.
Even in games.
Games are
Even
close.
in games.
A lot of hype. Chicago Bears, on the other hand, 2-6 with a -47, so they're being outscored by 4 touchdowns. The closest division in football that any team I think can win. Falcons 4-4, Saints 4-4, Bucks 3-4, and then the winless Carolina Panthers finally got a dubski this weekend. I think they won by like 3 or 4, -72 point differential this year. And then Seahawks, 49ers, 5-2, 5-3. The 49ers have lost 3 straight. Brock Purdy started out with like 8 touchdowns, no ints, and now he's like 3 touchdowns and 5 ints since then. Rams 3-5, Cardinals 1-7 under Joshua Dobbs. So who knows what's going to happen with the Vikings. So here's my question, guys. I just ripped off a lot of information for you. Off dome, who is going to be the championship this year? Who's going to the Super Bowl and who's winning?
I feel like the obvious pick is like the Niners, especially after just making that insane trade. But I don't know, dude. It's tough because
I
like
think the
Buffalo,
Niners or Eagles.
Eagles look good.
So I think it's going to either be Niners, Chiefs, or Niners, Bills this year. The reason why I say that is if you look at the point differentials this year, there's a lot of negative teams that probably aren't going to come close to the playoffs. Like, it's not like MLB where you can have a team that has a negative point or run differential and make the playoffs, or the NBA where you can like you have to win games. You have 17 games to play. You have to win them. You can't have a negative point differential. So in the NFC, there's 3 teams above a plus 50. At this time of the year, so halfway through the season, you're 8 games in. You have the 49ers at plus 78, the Eagles at plus 52, and then the Cowboys at plus 77.
Jesus.
Which is a drastic drop-off after that. It goes to 35-30, and then plus 17, plus 13. In the AFC, you have 3 teams above 50, and everybody else is holding on by a thread. You have the Bills at plus 86, the Dolphins at plus 67, the Ravens at plus 81, and then the Kansas City Chiefs at plus 58. The next closest team to plus 58, Jags at 37, so 3 scores. Then you have the Texans at plus 20, the Browns at plus 15, and the Chargers at plus 6. Everybody else in the NFC or AFC is a negative point differential.
Wow.
Everyone else.
I do keep forgetting about the Dolphins, bro. I mean, even with Tua at the helm, like Ramsey hasn't been playing for him yet. They got a
Yeah,
lot of
they do.
pieces, man.
And they're 6-2.
do something.
He
Yeah.
started last week.
Did he? Like this
Yeah.
Sunday?
Oh, well, he
He had
missed
a
the
pick.
first 7 games, so I mean,
Gotcha.
you know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, this was his first week back. Well, the past Sunday. Yeah, he had a pick.
So,
Almost
again,
pick six.
it just begs to differ. The same question of it's mid-season, and no one can really predict the championship winner. Which, even in the NBA, we made that argument of, hey, you know who's going to make the playoffs, but you never know who's going to win. You just know who's making the playoffs is what we're saying. We're not trying to say we know who's going to win the Super Bowl or the NBA championship or anything like that. And, which I don't think we were right on any or most of our predictions last year, which we are going to come out with our power rankings and things like that. And I would love to record these. I honestly kind of want to drop these on Friday instead of Monday.
Yeah.
Or maybe I guess we could drop them on Monday and then just predict the following week. I guess it really wouldn't matter. But it would just make it a lot easier if we record it on, say, Tuesday or something like that, Tuesday night, and then post them on Friday because we'd be able to see, okay, we know all of the previous week's matchups. We know the injuries and whatnot to be able to predict the following week. But anyways, that's besides the point. So you have stat leaders like Tua throwing for 2,400 yards and Kirk Cousins at 2,300, who just tore his ACL again. Just throwing that out there because my fucking fantasy team is in shambles. We have 3 fantasy leagues. We have a paid league, which I think is 10 teams, a free league, which is 16 teams, and then Will's league, which I think is 8. In the 16-team league, which, mind you, if you don't play fantasy football, that's a lot of fucking teams, meaning there's barely anybody on waivers that you can just pick up. If you get an injury, you better have something in the cards. Well, I've lost Nick Chubb this year and fucking Kirk Cousins, so now I'm scrambling.
Paid league.
I ended up traded Jerry Jeudy for Brock Purdy from Will yesterday. That goes through tomorrow. So that's fucking awesome.
Well, I wanted to add, you guys said you had something to tell me?
Oh, so that's about the basketball fantasy league. Let's get through the stats here with the NFL.
I
So,
couldn't remember.
so we were talking about a couple of shockers throughout the season that have really surprised us. And one of those things is how little time a couple quarterbacks have in the pocket and how it's affected their stats. So one of those teams, before we get to Daniel Jones, is Deshaun Watson. And I know we've already guessed, but I want you guys to guess again because I don't think you remember how many passing yards he has this year. Mind you, they're 4-3.
I can't remember. Who?
Deshaun Watson. He's only played in 4 games.
Dude, I remember it was ridiculously low, so I'm going to say like
I think it's like 860.
700.
683. Granted, he's only played in 4 games. He's ranked 32 in the league. The only other starter that I believe is below him was Anthony Richardson, which he's only played in 3, and he was at 477. I think that's it. I'm just double-checking. I'm scanning here. Okay. So played in 4 games. He has 4 touchdowns. In perspective, let's see here. No, I didn't want to say that stat until we got to Daniel Jones. So going to Daniel Jones, who has played in only 1 more game than Deshaun Watson. He's just above him, so he's ranked 31st. He's played in 5 games. He's been hurt.
Yeah.
884 passing yards, right? He only has 2 throwing or passing touchdowns. I don't know how many rushing he has. 2 passing touchdowns. In comparison, the only people below him in quarterbacks are Taylor Heineke has 1. Mitch Trubisky has 1, which he got yesterday.
Oh my!
PJ Walker has 1. Mike White 1. Then you have Aiden O'Connell and Tyson Bagent. Bagent? The backup for the Bears, has 1. Okay? The only other players below him, Keenan Allen, Derrick Henry, and Devin Singletary, all have a touchdown. Daniel Jones has 2 through 5 games. He's been hurt. And so the reason we bring that up is because of how many times he's been sacked. So the quarterback that stands out the most, he's played in 8 games. It's not close. Daniel Jones is second. Sam Howell at 41. He's played in all 8. Daniel Jones in 5 games has been sacked 28 times.
Dude, I saw this graphic on Facebook where Sam Howell's stats are very close to Patrick Mahomes this year.
Yeah. And he's just getting rocked. So we looked it up. As of the end of September, he was only allowed 2.4 seconds per throw. It's been a month. I don't know what that stat is now. But as of the end of September, he only had an average of 2.3 seconds a throw. Daniel Jones, who hasn't played in 3 games, has been sacked 13 less times, so an average of 5, 4.5, 4 1/3 per game, which he's obviously averaging through 5. He's averaging being sacked almost 6 times a game, which is fucking unreal. If he had been playing in these 3 games, he would have more sacks. I want to know what Daniel Jones' average time in the pocket is, because it has to be almost less than 2.
Low.
Because you're talking just getting hit. You're talking sacks. You're not talking QB hits, QB pressures. You're not talking the plays where he's scrambling out of the pocket and making a play out of it and not throwing the ball. So how much time does this quarterback have? In comparison, the next closest to Sam Howell, who's played 8 games, and Russell Wilson is 26. So about half of Sam Howell. But Sam Howell also has 2,100 yards, 13 touchdowns, 8 ins. Patrick Mahomes has 2,200 yards, so only 100 more, 2 more touchdowns at 15, and the same amount of interceptions.
Yeah.
Tua's passer rating, holy fuck, dude. Tua's Tagovailoa's passer rating is 108.8 through 8 games. Brock Purdy, 105. Kirk Cousins, 103. Russell Wilson, who's been sacked essentially the second most times through 8 games, 101.
Damn.
He has 18 touchdowns, or 16 touchdowns, 4 ins. Patrick Mahomes, 95.8.
I'm looking up to see Daniel Jones's time.
Yeah, it was a hard stat for me to find on Sam Howell. That's why I could only find through like September.
Yeah, I'm obviously seeing stats that like I'm not looking for, but he was sacked 10 times versus Seattle.
Seattle doesn't have that good of a defense, in my opinion.
No.
10 sacks in one game is wild.
That's crazy, dude.
Switching gears a little bit back to the NBA, one of the other things we talked about when we first recorded this was the City Edition jerseys.
Oh, yeah.
They fucking suck, dude.
Suck. They're bad.
Not to bring the Nets back up, dude, but that's probably the worst in my opinion. My favorite is probably the Celtics.
Not the worst,
bro.
dude.
I'm gonna pull them up again.
There's worse ones than the Nets one, dude. Come on.
Buddy, I don't think so.
What was the statement at hand?
The City Edition jerseys, the Nets is the worst.
The worst one.
I'm pulling them back up right now. I'm waiting for it to load.
I don't think it. Dude,
Utah's is nice. I like Utah's. Cleveland sucks, but it's not that bad. San Antonio's a little weird. Detroit's is lame. Phoenix Suns makes sense. It's what they do with all of their jerseys. Charlotte is okay.
There's worse ones, but it's definitely up there.
Minnesota's I like.
Bad.
That's what we talked about with Minnesota's. I couldn't remember what it was, but now that I'm looking at it, Minnesota's jersey is fire. So it's like a smoky, like bluish with white, right? And I said this is probably the greatest PR idea I think I've ever came up with, and someone needs to do this.
Oh, yeah.
These City Edition jerseys for Minnesota, or really any of these teams, even the Nets, it would be awesome. Awesome. Probably the coolest thing they could do is to go to local children's hospitals or even like retirement homes, like anything like that, and have the kids or the seniors sign the jerseys and then play in them, bro. How fucking fire would that be?
That would be fire.
Each player goes out and gets 20 signatures on the
That'd be
back
cool.
or on the front, one or the other, and goes out and plays. Because the Minnesota jerseys aren't a jersey I want to see them playing all the time. Once a year. And it'd be a sick PR stunt to go out and have the kids sign it from a children's hospital or anything like that. And it would mean so much to the community and those people to have that happen and play in them one time and then just never have to wear that jersey again because the jersey sucks, but it would make it meaningful.
I mean, did you see? I think it was Kyle Kuzma.
Mm-hmm.
He said like the NBA is ruining the nostalgia of jerseys because they keep adding so many every single year.
Yeah.
And he's kind of right, dude.
Yeah,
He's
there's
kinda
just
right.
too
Like,
many. There's too many options for
so
every
many
team.
jerseys now.
Yeah. Portland's is okay. The Lakers sucks. The Mavs are normal. The Warriors suck. Milwaukee's is pretty bad. Oklahoma City Thunder may be the worst.
The Warriors one is bad.
Oklahoma's is really bad. OKC is ass. I like Toronto's, but I like it better with the inverted because that's how last year's was. The Knicks is, I like it because, like Travis said in the last one, it's the old style jersey, but they doubled the letters, and I like that way better than just doing like a normal font with a trim around it. The Celtics is gorgeous. I love that. The Nuggets is boring. The Heat is probably my least favorite. Man, the Nets is really bad, bro.
It's definitely up there. I don't think it's
It's
the worst.
bad, but it's not
Grizzlies
the
is boring. Grizzlies is just black with fucking lines.
But dude, they added all those courts.
Yeah.
I can't believe how much
in-season
work
tournament
they're putting into
courts.
that, bro.
Yeah, like so are they only wearing these city editions during the in-season tournament?
No.
Is what I'm confused about.
These are no. I saw the Nets. They posted like when the season started. They like rotate them, so they're like a part of the teams.
I just
different
so
uniforms.
why are they making different courts?
That's for the in-season tournament.
Yeah, but
itself.
why?
I don't know. They're sick though. Have you seen them?
I haven't seen all of them now.
Dude, they're
NBA
gas.
In-season tournament courts.
But
Here
the
we go.
Pelicans one is atrocious,
Really?
dude. Oh my
I like
god.
the Hawks. The Hawks is kind of cool because it's like light blue instead of red.
See it.
Don't like the Celtics. The
Really?
net,
I thought
the
the
Nets
Celtics
is
one was
basically
nice.
their court, except for it's all
Yeah,
gray.
it's not that much different.
The
Yeah.
Hornets? Fuck with that. I don't like the Bulls too much red. I don't like Cleveland's. I don't like how they just all have the trophy on it. Detroit's is nice. I like the Pistons.
Yeah,
The Warriors is cool.
I'm waiting for your.
I like the Jazz. I like that purple.
Grizzlies is good. I wish the Grizzlies was just blue. It would just make it
The Jazz one is fire.
He is okay. Timberwolves
Whose
I like.
is that one?
The Pelicans?
Yeah, dude, there it is.
That one.
Yeah,
That is disgusting, bro. What the fuck?
like, dude, what is that? Why is it purple and lime green?
What the fuck, dude?
Yeah, dude, I don't know.
And then the inverted logo to make it black
Yeah.
and green?
I
can't
do
tell
not
what this
know.
purple one is, dude. What fucking team is that?
The purple one should be the Pelicans. That's the only purple one I've seen.
No, the Jazz have a purple
Oh,
court.
I don't think I've gotten to the Jazz yet.
No, there's another.
Oh, dude, it's beautiful.
Oh, it's probably the Valley. The
Yeah,
Suns.
that's the Suns. Where the fuck was the Jazz? How did I miss that?
The Mavs is terrible.
Oh, the Jazz is kind of fire. It's like a purplish pink,
Yeah.
like almost
Yeah.
like periwinkle. I don't like the
Periwinkle,
Warriors.
huh?
Terrible.
I don't like the Wizards. Yeah, periwinkle's fire. I love periwinkle.
I
It's
love
great
the
color.
next one, but that's biased because blue and orange are my favorite colors, anyways.
I mean, the next one is gas. I'm not gonna lie.
The Nets just look the same.
All right.
I don't like the Celtics one, man. I feel like they should have flipped it. What?
No, it's just
I don't mean to. I'm not dogging on them. I've dogged on the Raptors once too.
it's a lot of dogging on the
Dude,
Nets.
you said that?
Jersey, the
said that,
court,
Kate?
I'm dogging on the
fling
Raptors too. The Raptors one sucks.
falling from the Angels kind of thing
Oh my
earlier. It's
God,
just
bro.
it's a whole lot of Nets dumping right now, and I don't appreciate it.
Oh, fucking woe is me, buddy.
Dude, like you said that, and TJ was like, all right.
Yeah, and you know, the
I-
fucking Packers, bro. Fuck the Packers too.
they're bad.
They're bad.
Dude, I really like
They're bad.
Toronto's.
I like the old city editions were the black with the gold, not gold with the black. I
Yeah,
feel like the gold is just too much.
too much.
Now, who is this, though? Wizards? I like the Wizards.
I did not.
I like that one. I like that too.
I did not like the Wizards.
Who's this?
I really
The Bucks
fuck
is
with
terrible.
the Celtics, man. Like that is just a classic fucking off-white, green and gold. I love that.
Oh, you said you didn't like Boston's.
No, I love Boston's uniforms. I don't like their
Yeah.
court. I
Oh,
don't like the court, but the unis
Yeah,
are
I don't-
gas.
I don't like the court. No.
The unis are fucking fire.
Yeah.
Boys, I don't really have anything else I wanted to talk about this week. We've pretty much wrapped up everything that we talked about in the previous recording. The only thing I do want to mention is we are doing this every week. We're going to be doing like a bunch of different recaps, talking about a bunch of different sports. It's not just basketball or just football or anything like that. We're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about golf, tennis,
hit a
talk
lot.
about our personal experiences, but there will be a sports episode every single week. Anyways, guys, if you don't have anything else you wanted to highlight of sports this week, then we can wrap it up.
No.
Give her a proper send off.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to the TKT Podcast Sports Episode 1, a.k.a. what we're going to be calling Sports to Kill Time. It's going to be a weekly episode. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please leave a like, comment, subscribe on YouTube, as well as leave a review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We have 16 or 17, I think, 5-star reviews on our Spotify.
Yeah.
Keep it coming. And don't
Let's
forget,
keep
there's
it
a
going.
Q&A on every single Spotify episode, actually, where you can put down a question that we can answer, or even you can highlight something that we talked about on Spotify as well. It doesn't just have to be on YouTube or anything like that. So be sure to go ahead and run those down in the comments or the Q&A section on Spotify. Anyways, guys, we will see y'all in the next one.
Peace.